Hello, tarot lovers and the tarot curious. um, I just finished doing a whole whack of readings for people, and I put out a free offer, and a lot of people took me up on it. And what a privilege it was to get to know all these amazing people. And some people want to know, how did you do that? How did you do that? I have no idea. I have no idea. I've been doing this a long time, and I don't really know what I did or how I do it. But I'm happy to share like the little bits that I know, and maybe that will help you. And I thought, what's the most important thing to know when you're first starting out? And I thought maybe if I shared a little bit of what I started with, it would help you grow and expand. So I went into my cupboard and down memory lane, and how I started was actually with playing cards. Yes, playing cards. My mom had a friend who used to read with playing cards, and she took me to see her, and this is what we started with. We started with just plain playing cards. And some of the best readings I've ever had in my life were with playing cards. And I'll just leave that. I'm trying to put it back in the box. I'm like, yeah, nobody needs that. So this was the very first book. I think this was the very first book I ever bought on oracles. And it was like 1990. I like to prefer to myself as being very well preserved. So keep your opinions about my age to yourself, okay? Yeah. So this was the very first book that I bought on tarot. And if you want Birth by Fire, my friends, playing cards, because that will open up your intuition unlike anything else. Because honest to God, it's you. Oh, that's so weird. I got the Eight of Hearts twice, but like it's you in this card, and you have to figure it out, and it is difficult. But it's good. It's good for you. It's good for you to struggle. Don't put struggling past yourself, because you learn so much in the journey, right? And that's what you're here for. You want to experience it all. But yeah, it was challenging. And I later bought this, which nowhere near is used. In fact, like I'm like, did I ever even look at this? But this was the Fortune Teller's deck. And it actually came with a little deck that had red cards, red backs on the cards. And I'm pretty sure they're in that cupboard, but I couldn't be bothered to pull it out because I pulled a lot of things, out, and there's a lot of stuff going on in this room right now. So yeah, one of the things that I really liked about learning playing cards was the combinations. And I still remember some to this day, like 2 sevens was mutual love. I think it was like 2 aces were union. 2 twos were a separation. Like I still remember that stuff, and it all came from this book, which like look at how well loved this is. And I think it also had like really crazy combinations. And I remember, I think I was like 17, and I gave my mom a reading, and like they had like the 9 and 10 of diamonds together was a journey. And I said, and that came up in my mom's thing, and I looked it up, and I'm like, you're going to go on a journey. And my mom's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. Meanwhile, 3 weeks later, she went to Calgary to see my Oma unexpectedly. So take that, Mom. So she's going to kill me. She'll probably be like, that never happened. Yes, it did. Anyway, so like, so I started with playing cards. That's how I got involved. That's what I did. I did it for years. I did it for such a long time. And the very first tarot deck that I got was I now keep in this really awesome ceramic. I love this little ceramic box, and it's the Hanson Robertson tarot, which I still have. This was the very first little thingy that I had, and it says 85. I didn't get them in 85 for sure. I think I got it in 94. I'm pretty sure. And I'll just hold them up to you so that you can see them. But they're just like little pencil crayon drawings, right? Very classic. I really, really like this deck. I still really like this deck. Like it's pretty. It's not intimidating at all. And yeah, this was my very first tarot deck. And I really loved this deck. I never read with it anymore. Here's the Ace of Cups. I never read with it anymore. I think it's just because I stopped reading with it since I put it in. Oddly, I stopped reading with it when I put it in this like beautiful ceramic container. I think it was like 98 when I was given this particular deck. And I think this is called the Old Way. If you've had a reading with me, most likely you've seen this deck. This was my training deck, and I hated this deck. I hated this deck. I thought it was like ugly, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on with these people eating their food and like partying it up. So what I did, somebody gave me a really great tip to like write little keywords. So like you'll see them, celebration. Some of the cards have like different colored inks because I've done it over years. Just this was my training deck. So yeah, and I hated this deck. I just found it like, and now I love it because I spent so much time with this deck, getting to know it, developing a relationship with the deck, that it really talks to me, and it talks to me very loudly in a very different way each time I read with it. But yeah, so I struggled with the tarot. I'm not going to lie to you. I had the Hanson, I had the Old Way, and I went, this is too much, because some of the decks have crazy, crazy books in them. So like, well, the Hanson Roberts had this little beautiful, this amazing little book. Some of them are like really, really big. I'm just going to see if I have one really quickly. I'm there. I'm not off screen. It's all good. So like, look at how big this book is, right? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So what I did was I just got overwhelmed, and I went back to the playing cards, and I just studied playing cards for years and years and years until somebody taught me how easy it was to read with tarot cards. And having struggled and worked through like the whole thing with I scratched my belly. Scratching my belly. I'm sorry. Anyway, like having worked through like how difficult it is to like read with playing cards and figuring it out and blah blah blah. When I went back to the tarot, I'm like, oh, this is super easy. Like, what was I worried about? But yeah, so like that was sort of how I started. And back in the day, people often used like Oracle cards, and it was very fashionable for a long time to use the Doreen Virtue cards. She had angel decks, and she was very popular at the time. I think his name is Kyle Gray, who has kind of stepped in to her place as the Hay House angel person. And I think he has a couple of decks. I don't have any of them, but he sort of filled the space that she left. And I think it was Doreen Virtue's cards that actually put Hay House on the radar for decks. But my problem with the Doreen Virtue decks, and if you're a friend of mine, you've heard me rant about this, I don't connect to them. Like, I don't connect to them. I used to have so many of them, and I've given them all away, except for a handful. So, like, the images just don't talk. They've got long descriptions. I kept this particular deck when I did like a big purge years ago, because I really liked the little descriptions, actually, of the archangels. And that's part of why I collect so many decks, is I really like reading the books and getting the different interpretations of cards, right? But this image doesn't tell me a lot, and I can't connect to the images, and I kept buying them hoping that this will be the deck that makes it. I'll finally connect to a Doreen Virtue deck and finally get out what other people are saying. It's never happened. It's never happened. So I spent a lot of time with the Romance Angel deck, which is a very, very popular deck. But people, and I've seen this happen, like people just read the descriptions like that are on the card. They don't connect to the card. I just find it so, or they read the booklet and I'm like, if you just broke up with somebody and you're with me and we're having, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to be talking to you about the card. I don't want to stop and read the stupid description on the card, right? Like, and a lot of times I find her descriptions in the little booklet that comes with it don't match what the images on the card are, and or even like the descriptions on the card, and I find it super confusing. So I'm not a big fan of hers. I'll show you another one. Like, look at how long that description is on that card. Like, that's insane. I'm not reading that. Like, I want to look at the image and get a feel from the image in my heart, and it just never happens with her decks. The only exception, and there is an exception, it's the, and I use it for a very different reason, is the Angel Therapy deck, because they actually come with little prayers and little action steps that you can take, right? And I like this deck, but again, I use this particular deck more for, sorry, I'm making a lot of noise, but like more for the little booklet and the prayers and the like vacuum away fear. And then it has a little prayer. I like to close my readings with this particular deck because I feel like it gives you an action step that you can take right away to change your energy. And that's what I like about this deck. It's a really, this deck I probably will always have with me just because of that. Like, but her other decks, I'm holding on to this one because I think this might be her last deck that she ever did before her conversion. But yeah, I've gotten rid of so many Doreen Virtue decks. It's not even funny. Another Oracle deck, for example, would be the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle cards by Colette Baron-Reid, also a Hay House author. These were really beautiful. I don't know if you can see that, but really beautiful cards. I feel like if I spent more time with this deck that I would really connect to it and I would use it more, but I don't have time for that. I just don't have time to like learn an Oracle deck that doesn't immediately speak to me. So I think this is a brilliant deck. It's really nice. I feel like if I had the time and I spent the time with it, it would be great. Oracle cards that I like. Precious, like precious. So this is Island Time Wellness. Their decks are amazing. I only have the one because they only recently, whoops, I looked for this deck in Canada for a year before I finally found it. And the moment I found it in Canada, like that they were shipping to Canada, which is where I'm from, obviously, I bought it right away because I was like, oh, it's sort of like Christmas when I get these. And I love this deck. Like, even though it just has a couple of words, I just really, I don't know. Some decks just have them out. It doesn't even have, I don't think it ever had like a little booklet. So like the words on the thing, those are your keywords. And you just go from that. And like, I don't know why, but these cards just sing to me and I really like them. I'm super grateful that I have them. I only have the one deck. I think they have 3 or 4 other decks, which I don't have. But so yeah, tarot decks. That's why you're here. That's what you want to hear about. Why are you going on? I don't know. I just do that from time to time. So with tarot decks, there's the very classic Rider-Waite, and that's what most tarot decks are based on. So like, there you go, there's the star. And probably when you think of tarot, you think of these cards because they're iconic. Ooh, that's upside down. And they're super, this particular deck is only $10, $12, I think it was. You can get them super cheap. And that's what, I mean, if you're just learning, they're a great deck to learn with because you can just look it up. Like you can Google 5 of Pentacles, what does that mean? And you'll get all sorts, you'll get like you'll get an internet full of people who have interpretations of this. And you can make notes and you can figure it out and see how you feel about that. I think my favorite teacher is probably Dusty White, and he wrote The Easiest Way to Learn the Tarot Ever, an amazing book that gives you like a lot of exercises to use with the cards, little games that you can play to expand your intuition. Absolutely fantastic stuff. He also has like a bunch of free YouTube tutorials and stuff. Well worth it. He's a historian, so he gets really deep into stuff, but he would only recommend this. He would not recommend many interpretations of it. The other deck that I really like, which is based on the very classic Rider-Waite, would be the Classic Tarot. It's a shiny deck. It's got brighter colors, and I really like the colors of this particular deck. And it's also slippy. So when you shuffle it, it shuffles really well. This is a really good deck to shuffle with. And I have 0 complaints about this deck. Like, I use it all the time. It's a really great deck. It's a really great deck to learn from because it doesn't stray far from the Rider-Waite. Just trying to think of what else I can show you guys. Some of the other decks. So there's also decks that are like artist decks. I'm going to show you the Shadowscape. Oh, this is great because remember when I was saying some of them have really thick books? This is a really thick book. And I really like the books that tarot come with because they give you such a different interpretation. I like reading through them. I used to make notes of like what this person thought and what that person thought of this particular card and compare them. I I just found it really interesting. So I bought a lot of decks. I have a lot of decks for that reason. Plus, I also think the artistry of like how you create this deck and how different people have different interpretations is so cool. So this is the lovely Shadowscape. Like, look at how beautiful that is. Like, honestly, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous card. I find, however, what is this? This is the Three of Pentacles. I'm just looking to see if I have one on top. But like, you can see how beautiful these cards are and how like there's so much symbolism in it. And if you're a beginner, oh, they have swans, so I gotta put this up. So look at the beautiful swans. But like if you get lost, you'll get lost in it, right? Like, what do I look at in this image? It's got like swans, it's got a sword, it's got butterflies, blah, blah, blah. I think if you're a beginner, this is a bit overwhelming. And I think you should stick with a more traditional, more straightforward deck. And I also find, like, for me, and maybe your case may be different, people that come to me usually want really concrete answers. They don't want, and I find that this deck is really, really high vibrational, and it talks up here. And it talks about possibilities, and it talks about, when I read with this deck, it's like a total different consciousness, and like how you connect into the greater consciousness. For that, this deck is amazing. But for the concrete, like, should I take this path or that path? Is this person right for me or this person? I don't get that from this deck. And I will probably never part with this deck because it's just so absolutely beautiful. I'm just trying to think of what else I can show you. Oh, so as I was saying, like, different cards have different interpretations. So here's the Five of Pentacles. Here's, this is the Wheel of Time, I think it's called, or Year of the Wheel or something like that. Some people will probably know just by the back, but this is the Five of Pentacles. This is the Five of Pentacles in my training deck. So you can see the difference. Here's a couple. Here's one guy. Both of them have fallen on hard times. Are these two supporting each other? Is he figuring out what he's doing with his life during a hard time? That's the magic of the tarot, because both of them are right. And it's just about applying the image that speaks to you. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's the basics. I'm going to put a couple of, oh, Anna, the Anna K. Just look behind me. I've got like, I've got a small sea of stuff on my bed. But the Anna K is an amazing deck too. I really, really like it. I wish I read with it more. But like, I love the colors of the Anna K. I love just the simplistic expressions. Like, look at that guy's face. That is not a happy camper. And you can get so much out of like just their expressions, right? Like, it's such a great deck. And I don't use it that much because I have very small hands. I'm a very tiny person. And shuffling with it is a little bit more difficult because it is a thicker or like a wider card. But it's a great deck and I highly recommend it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some little, what are they called? Like links below so that you, if you're interested in any of these decks, that you can go and purchase them. Yeah. And just do what you want. Like, enjoy it. Like, it's all about you and the card and trusting the process, because there is nothing more terrifying than having a stranger sit across from you and just having this. unless it's a plague or like that's even worse. But like, it's about just trust. What do I see in this card? What is this person asking me? And putting it together for them. And if you want to learn more, let me know. I'm happy to teach you. I'm happy, like, I love this stuff. I think it's really fun. I've been doing it a really, obviously, but I still look youthful and I'm delightful. I've been doing it a long time. So yeah, that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, and go get yourself a deck. What do you have to lose for like $14, right? Anyway, I hope that I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this was helpful. And yeah, have a magical day. Bye.